Have you ever been in a conversation and you could tell the other person wasn't really there? Their body was in front of you, but their mind had already left the room. Maybe you've been that person yourself, half listening, nodding politely, while your thoughts race somewhere else. This isn't rare. In fact, Harvard psychologists Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert found that people's minds wander almost half of the time. 47% of our waking hours are spent thinking about something other than what we're doing. And here's the striking part. Their research showed that the more our minds wander, the less happy we feel. This means that almost half of our lives we are absent from our own moments, and in that absence, we lose happiness. So what does this have to do with freedom? Everything. Because freedom isn't just about money or choices, it's about presence. And if we can't be present in our own lives, we can never truly be free. When I speak with people, through books, research, and the voices of history, I hear the same longing repeated again and again. I just want to feel free. But freedom is slippery. Some define it as wealth, others as happiness, others as time. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." For him, freedom was found not in possessions, but in contentment. Centuries later, Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, echoed a similar truth in Man's Search for Meaning. He wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Different voices, different centuries, but the same question. Is freedom something outside us or inside us? Is it wealth? Is it happiness? Or is it the equation between the two? Let's consider wealth first. For thousands of years, humans have associated freedom with resources. Money gives us choices. Money gives us access. Money can buy security, healthcare, education, and time. Without it, life is often fragile and constrained. But here's the paradox. Studies show that after a certain point, more money does little to improve happiness. In 2010, Nobel laureates Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton analyzed over 450,000 survey responses in the United States. They found that once people earned around $75,000 per year, enough to cover basic needs and modest comforts, additional income did not significantly increase daily happiness. Wealth alone, then, is not freedom. It may buy comfort, but it doesn't buy fulfillment. On the other hand, consider happiness without wealth. Abraham Maslow, the American psychologist, described this in his hierarchy of needs. At the base of the pyramid are our physiological needs: food, water, shelter. Just above it, safety. Without these, it's almost impossible to sustain joy. You can be grateful, optimistic, even deeply spiritual, but if you are chronically hungry or unsafe, your energy is consumed by survival. So neither wealth alone nor happiness alone creates freedom. Both are necessary, but neither is sufficient. Together, they form an equation. I want you to picture two lives. In the first, you have wealth. You can buy what you like, travel where you wish, and never worry about bills. But imagine you wake each morning feeling anxious, empty, disconnected. You scroll endlessly on your phone, chasing distractions, but never feel alive. In the second, you are deeply happy. You laugh often, feel love in your relationships, and find joy in small things. But every day you wake with the heavy burden of debt or unpaid bills. You want to explore, to grow, to expand, but financial chains hold you in place. Neither of these lives is free. because freedom is not just one side of the equation, it is the balance between wealth and happiness. The Buddha taught something similar 2,500 years ago. After years of extreme luxury as a prince, and then years of extreme self-denial as an ascetic, he realized that neither path brought liberation. He called his discovery the middle way, a life of balance, free from extremes. In many ways, the freedom equation is a modern echo of this ancient truth. So, let's pause here. Ask yourself, which side of the equation are you leaning on more right now? Do you pursue wealth, hoping happiness will follow? Or do you pursue happiness while quietly struggling with financial stress? It's an uncomfortable question, but an important one. Because to design freedom, you must first see where the imbalance lies.
Throughout history, we see this tension play out again and again. Aristotle, in his philosophy of eudaimonia, human flourishing, taught that the good life was not about pleasure alone, but about balance, living with virtue, purpose, and enough resources to support that pursuit. Fast forward to today, and movements like FIRE, financial independence, retire early, speak to the same longing. Books like Vicki Robbins' Your Money or Your Life argue that true wealth is not money itself, but the ability to reclaim your time, align your spending with your values, and live with purpose. The message is consistent. Freedom is not having more. Freedom is having balance. We've seen that freedom is not one-sided. But to really understand this, we need to examine the illusions people fall into. The first illusion is believing that wealth by itself will create happiness. It's a story that has been told for centuries. If you just earn more, buy more, achieve more, then you'll finally feel free. But study after study shows this isn't true. Psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell wrote about what they called the hedonic treadmill back in 1971. They found that human beings quickly adapt to improved circumstances. Win the lottery, buy a bigger house, get a promotion. Yes, you'll feel happier for a while, but soon your mind resets to its baseline and you're back on the treadmill, running after the next thing. This was confirmed in 1978 in a famous study on lottery winners. Researchers Brickman, Coates, and Janoff-Bullman compared the happiness of lottery winners to non-winners. Their finding? After the initial excitement wore off, lottery winners were no happier than ordinary people. Some were even less happy. Wealth, on its own, had not given them freedom. Seneca, almost 2,000 years earlier, already understood this. He wrote that money has never yet made anyone rich. What he meant was simple. Without inner peace, wealth is just numbers. You may add more zeros to your bank account, but if your soul remains restless, the equation never balances. Modern data supports this too. Surveys show that once people have enough to cover their needs and enjoy modest comfort, extra income does little to improve life satisfaction. Beyond security, what truly matters are relationships, health, purpose, and presence. Now, the second illusion is the opposite. Believing happiness alone is enough even in the absence of financial security. This is equally dangerous, because joy cannot always withstand the constant strain of survival. Maslow's hierarchy reminds us, before we can fully pursue love, creativity, and self-actualization, we must meet basic needs of food, shelter, and safety. A life without financial stability can trap us in worry, and chronic stress erodes happiness over time. Economists call this the poverty trap. Without resources, people are forced to make short-term decisions, working multiple jobs, borrowing at high interest, sacrificing long-term growth just to get through the week. In such conditions, happiness becomes fragile, easily shattered by the next emergency. So we return to the same conclusion. Wealth without happiness is empty, and happiness without wealth is unstable. Freedom lies in their balance. And this isn't just theory. History is filled with examples. Take the life of Leo Tolstoy, the Russian writer. He was born into wealth, yet as a young man he fell into gambling, drinking, and dissatisfaction. Despite his riches, he described his life as empty, almost unbearable. Later, when he shifted towards a simpler existence, working the land, serving others, and focusing on purpose, he found peace. His freedom was not in his wealth, but in aligning wealth with meaning. On the other side, consider the countless voices from developing economies who, despite joy and resilience, face daily struggles that limit opportunity. Their laughter is real, but so is the weight of poverty. Studies from the World Bank consistently show that financial insecurity reduces not just options, but health, education, and lifespan. Freedom, then, is not found in extremes. It is found in balance.
The Buddha's middle way, Aristotle's eudaimonia, Seneca's Stoic wisdom, Kahneman's modern data, all point to the same truth. To live free, we must bring happiness and wealth into harmony. But how do we begin? The first step is awareness, to ask ourselves, where am I unbalanced? Am I chasing wealth at the cost of peace? Or am I clinging to happiness while neglecting security? The second step is to build habits, small daily practices that strengthen both sides of the equation. Because freedom is not a single leap, but a path walked one step at a time. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, explains that identity is shaped by small, consistent actions. If you save a little each day, you become the kind of person who is financially free. If you practice gratitude each day, you become the kind of person who notices joy. These habits may seem small, almost invisible, but over years they compound into extraordinary results. Psychologists Robert Emmons and Michael McCullough demonstrated this with gratitude. In their 2003 study, participants who kept a simple gratitude journal, writing down just 5 things they were thankful for each week, reported higher levels of optimism, exercised more, and even had fewer visits to the doctor. Happiness, it seems, is built not on grand gestures, but on small, repeated practices. In the same way, wealth is rarely built by sudden windfalls. It is built by steady, disciplined choices, saving consistently, avoiding debt traps, investing patiently, living below your means so you can live above your fears. Together, these habits of gratitude and of discipline lay the foundation of freedom. So here's what we've discovered so far. Wealth without happiness is a cage. Happiness without wealth is fragile. The freedom equation lies in balance. And the first step toward that balance is small, simple awareness, simple habits, small daily acts of presence, and small daily acts of discipline. Because freedom is not a destination, it is a practice. Now that we understand the balance between happiness and wealth, let's explore the deeper dimensions of freedom. True freedom is not just about money or fleeting happiness. It is supported by 3 essential pillars: time, relationships, and health. Each of these has been studied extensively, and each plays a critical role in the life we call free. Let's begin with time. The philosopher Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested." Time is our most precious resource. Money can be earned back, happiness can fluctuate, but once a moment passes, it is gone forever. Modern studies confirm what Seneca observed. Research from the University of California at Irvine shows that people who feel in control of their time report significantly higher levels of well-being. Conversely, people who feel rushed or overscheduled often experience stress, anxiety, and even burnout. Time wealth, control over how we spend our hours, is a cornerstone of freedom. Without it, neither money nor happiness alone can sustain liberation. The second pillar is relationships. Aristotle described humans as social animals and argued that flourishing cannot exist in isolation. In Nicomachean Ethics, he noted that friendship, community, and mutual care are central to a good life. Modern research supports this timeless insight. A 75-year-long Harvard study, the Grant Study, tracked the lives of hundreds of men to discover the keys to happiness and health. The conclusion was clear. Strong relationships, not wealth, not fame, not professional success, predicted a long, fulfilling life. People who were more connected to family, friends, and community were happier, healthier, and lived longer. In other words, freedom is hollow without connection. Even if you have wealth and time, isolation erodes the quality of life. Investing in relationships, just like investing in finances, is a critical part of the freedom equation. The third pillar is health, the physical and mental foundation of freedom. Without a healthy body and mind, wealth loses its utility and happiness loses its depth. Studies consistently show the profound link between health and well-being. For example, research in the Journal of Health Psychology demonstrates that physical activity, adequate sleep, and proper nutrition are strongly associated with life satisfaction. Similarly, chronic illness or poor mental health can drastically limit one's ability to enjoy both wealth and relationships. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized the mind-body connection, reminding us that external circumstances are often less important than the internal state of our health and discipline. Today, science confirms it. The better we treat our body and mind, the more effectively we can pursue both happiness and financial freedom.
So let's summarize. Time. Freedom requires control over how we spend our hours. Relationships. Freedom without connection is shallow. Health. Without a sound body and mind, freedom is fragile. These three pillars support the balance between happiness and wealth. If one is weak or missing, the freedom equation falters. Think of a table with 4 legs. If happiness and wealth are 2 legs, and time, relationships, and health are the remaining supports, you can see how easily the table can waddle if any pillar is neglected. True freedom is stability across all these dimensions. Consider Viktor Frankl again. In Man's Search for Meaning, even in the extreme conditions of a concentration camp, he observed that those who maintained a sense of purpose, nurtured relationships, and preserved mental resilience could endure hardship with dignity. They could not control wealth, nor always guarantee happiness, but their inner freedom persisted through time, health, and connection. Similarly, modern examples like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates illustrate that wealth alone does not define freedom. Both prioritize time for family, health, and philanthropy. Gates schedules meaningful time daily for learning, reflection, and relationships. Buffett famously maintains simple routines to preserve his health and mental clarity. Their wealth enables freedom, but it is their disciplined attention to the pillars that sustains it. Now I invite you to pause. Ask yourself, how do I spend my time? Am I mastering it or letting it slip away unnoticed? Are my relationships strong, nourishing, and intentional? Am I caring for my body and mind with the respect they deserve? Even small changes in these 3 pillars can shift your freedom equation profoundly. A short daily walk, a call to a loved one,
or scheduling a quiet hour for reflection can compound over weeks and months into meaningful freedom. By aligning happiness and wealth with time, relationships, and health, we start to see a blueprint for living free. This is not theory. It is philosophy, it is psychology, it is history, and it is science. And here's the good news. Balance is achievable. Each of us can begin today with small, intentional steps toward freedom that is measurable not just in money or in fleeting pleasure, but in the consistent experience of a life well lived. By now, we have explored the essential elements of freedom: happiness, wealth, time, relationships, and health. We've seen that neither wealth alone nor happiness alone creates true freedom. And we've seen through history, philosophy, and modern research that the pillars supporting this balance are essential for a life well lived. So the question becomes, how do we begin to integrate these elements into our own lives? The first step is self-awareness. Mindfulness practices, as described by Jon Kabat-Zinn and popularized in Wherever You Go, There You Are, show that simply observing your thoughts and behaviors creates clarity. Notice where your time goes, where your energy is spent, and how aligned your daily actions are with your values. Research in psychology consistently confirms this. When people track their time and intentions, they report higher levels of well-being and a sense of control over their lives. Awareness is the first act of freedom.
The second step is habit formation, building small, consistent practices that strengthen each pillar of the equation. James Clear in Atomic Habits emphasizes that tiny actions repeated daily compound into remarkable results over months and years. For example, spend 15 minutes each morning reviewing your priorities and goals. Allocate time each week to connect deeply with friends or family. Commit to a short daily exercise routine, even a brisk walk, to support health. Begin a simple financial habit, like saving or tracking expenses, to reinforce wealth. Practice gratitude daily, reflecting on what you value in life. Each of these small actions reinforces one leg of the freedom equation. Over time, they build resilience, presence, and freedom. History reminds us that freedom is never guaranteed, it is cultivated. Viktor Frankl's experiences in concentration camps show that even under extreme constraint, the human spirit can maintain freedom through purpose, relationships, and mindset. Similarly, Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia teaches us that living well is a lifelong practice. It is not a final destination, but an ongoing effort to align action, virtue, and resources. The freedom equation is no different. It requires daily attention, reflection, and adaptation. So, here is an exercise for you, right now. Map your freedom equation. Take a piece of paper and write down, how satisfied are you with your happiness? How satisfied are you with your wealth and resources? How satisfied are you with your time, relationships, and health? Identify imbalances. Where is your table wobbling? Which pillars need reinforcement? Take one small action today. This could be a call to a loved one, a 10-minute walk, a short reflection, or saving a small amount of money. One deliberate act strengthens the equation. Remember the words of Seneca, life is long enough if you know how to use it. Freedom is using your life intentionally, not merely surviving it.
As we close this first episode of the Freedom Equation, let us recap. Wealth alone does not equal freedom. Happiness alone does not equal freedom. Freedom is the balance, the integration of wealth, happiness, time, relationships, and health. This balance is not accidental. It is cultivated through awareness, reflection, and consistent habits. Over the next episodes, we will explore each pillar in depth. We will uncover practical steps grounded in research, philosophy, and real-life examples to help you design your own freedom equation. For now, carry this thought with you. Freedom is not a faraway dream. It is available today in the choices you make, the relationships you nurture, the time you protect, and the health you honor. Start with one deliberate act and watch the equation shift. Take a deep breath. Reflect on the balance in your life. Ask yourself, where am I free and where am I bound? You have the tools, you have the insight, and you have today. Begin now. This is the first step on your journey with the Freedom Equation.